Hey, everybody, and welcome to day 14 of our 30 days of how to be successful with me, your host, Jody Almond. I am excited to be here with you tonight, and I cannot wait for us to dive in deep into this lesson in this session tonight. I am going to share with you one of what I believe is the pivotal and major keys to helping anyone find success in any area of their life. It doesn't matter what area it is. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, how much success you've already had, or how little success you've already had. If you do not apply this part of the teaching, you will never, ever find real success in your life. I promise you that. But before we get into that, real quickly, let me just share one or two things with you if I could. Again, this is 30 days of how to be successful with me. I call it real talk because I'm not pulling any punches. I'm sharing with you real sound advice on how you can find success in this 30 days or less, right? And so you may say, well, what gives you the credentials to do that? Well, not only am I a #1 Amazon best-selling book author, I am also a CEO. I'm sorry, I got tongue tied trying to get my stuff in there. I'm also the CEO and the founder, as you'll see, of Solution Ministries right here. And so, I believe that I have it. I am a life coach, a business coach. I have helped many people for over 20 years to be able to find success in different areas of their life. And so, with that being said, I feel that I am qualified, and I know that I'm qualified to be able to help you to find success in your life. Now, what we've been talking about is potential predators, and we've been discussing potential predators. And when I say potential predators, I'm not talking about the wolves and the bears and the lions and the tigers and all these things. What I'm referring to, essentially, when I talk about potential predators, are the things that are potentially killing your life. And so I want to talk to you about those things and try to help you. And we've discussed 7 so far, or 6 so far, and I believe we're on number 7 tonight. And so we're going to continue talking. And tonight, this one's really exciting. I can't wait to share it with you. And I want to start with this. Here's a question for you. Have you ever heard the statement or the quote, Rome wasn't built in a day? I've heard that statement many times, and I'm sure you have as well. And if you've heard the statement, Rome wasn't built in a day, then you know it's talking about something taking time to come to fruition, right? You know that that's what it's referring to. And so when we talk about this today, I want to talk to you because the topic I want to talk to you about tonight is consistency. I want to talk to you about consistency because when we discuss consistency, we're going to be discussing the topic of consistency and understanding that when we talk about consistency, we're talking about the thing that is going to affect your life. And so when we talk about consistency, it's very important. Now, here's a couple quotes for you. John Maxwell says, motivation gets you going, discipline keeps you growing. The reason I share that is because when we discuss consistency, when we talk about consistency, I want you to understand that consistency is being disciplined. Consistency is being disciplined in what it is you feel called to do. Now, we've already discussed discovering your purpose, developing your purpose, and now we're dealing with these potential predators, and we've discussed many of them. But in this lesson tonight, I believe that consistency is the #1 predator that robs people of their success. And this is why. We can be consistent for a moment. In other words, somebody can be good for a day or a week. Somebody can be bad for a day or a week. But do they consistently continue in that discipline or behavior? Here's an example. I can decide that I want to work out. Okay, we just come through the new year. A lot of people have that mentality that it's a brand new year. I'm going to get fit. I'm going to be more in shape and more active. So I'm going to work out. And as they have that mentality and they're deciding to do that, that's a decision they've made. Where they fail is in the discipline. They fail in the consistency of continuing forward with it. And many times the reason we do that in the area of working out and going to the gym and eating right, the reason we do not do those things is because we don't see the results we want in the time we want. This is the same reason that people decide they don't want to be in a relationship. They decide they don't want to be in a job. They decide that they don't want to follow through in this career. They don't want to follow through in this college courses and curriculums. They decide they don't want to follow through in being successful because it takes consistency. Consistency is not something we do occasionally. Consistency is something we do all the time, every day we're engaged, right? And so I want to share with you five ways that we can be consistent, okay? So I want to share these with you. 5 ways that we can be consistent. And I always list all my notes up at the beginning. If you're a first timer here, I list them up at the beginning. That way you can take notes. You can write them out and then write out the way I describe it, or you can take a screenshot, whatever works for you. But I encourage you, do not miss this material. This is going to be life changing, I promise you. So you see, number 1, when we talk about consistency, you see number 1 is the source. Now, if we're going to be successful, we have to know our why. And the reason I say that is, let me go back to my gym illustration and getting physically fit. If I'm going to go to the gym and be physically fit, what I have to understand is this. I have to understand, why am I doing it? Am I doing it because I have underlying health issues such as diabetes or high blood pressure or heart condition that I want to keep everything running as smoothly as possible? That is my why. If that's my why, that's a pretty huge motivational why. My why may be because I want to get into, for the ladies, I hear them say things like this. Well, Thanksgiving and Christmas is past and I've got to get my bikini body ready for summer, right? So that's their why. Other people, their whys, they just want to be able to feel better about themselves. The other people's whys because they physically want to look better and be able to achieve something. Maybe they're going to the gym because they're trying to achieve a weight, or maybe they're going to the gym because they're trying to achieve running on the treadmill because they're going to try out for a marathon or a triathlon or something. You see, there's all these whys. Well, when it comes to success in any area of our life, we have to know the why. We have to know the why. Listen to what Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson says about success. Success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success, and greatness will come. Did you hear what The Rock says? The Rock says, Dwayne Johnson, all right? Most people know him as The Rock, okay? Dwayne Johnson says this. He says that if you're going to be successful and you're going to want to be great in an area of your life, whether that's working out, whether that's being fit, whether that's sticking to a diet plan, whether that is being a great mom, being a great dad, being a great spouse, being a great employee, whatever, it's going to come through consistency. And the way that that's going to happen is, number 1, you must know your why. This is what I've learned. Why power will always overwhelm willpower. I can have the willpower. Let me give you an example. It's been almost, it's been almost 12 to 13 years now. If you know me, you know this. It's been almost 12 to 13 years now that long ago, 12 to 13 years ago, I made a decision through willpower that I was going to stop drinking all sodas, all coffee, all tea, all juices, all milk, all milkshakes. I was only going to drink water. That was going to be my beverage. Now, I was going to accomplish this through willpower, right? And so I started trying to drink more water. Well, I would occasionally drink a soda here and there, and I would drink a glass of tea here and there, and I would drink a milkshake here and there. And so eventually it got to the place where I started asking myself, why am I doing this? And what made me ask myself that question was referring back to the original reason that I had started drinking water in the first place. And the reason I had started drinking water in the first place is because I had had a kidney stone that had to be extracted from my body. Now, if you've never had a kidney stone, I would not wish that upon my worst enemy. Okay? If you have and you did well with it, maybe I'm just a big baby and I don't handle the kind of pain that a kidney stone brings very well. But on this day, when I was struggling with my willpower, I had a familiar pain in my lower back that reminded me of my kidney stone. And I decided when I walked out of that restroom in my house that day, I decided my why was greater than my will. My why power was greater than my willpower. The doctors had told me to drink more water, and I would not have nearly the kidney stones and maybe never a kidney stone again. So you know what I did? When I felt that familiar pain, my why, my source of why am I drinking water? Why do I want to be successful in drinking nothing but water kicked in? And can I tell you something? For the last 12 to 13 years, pretty much outside of a very slim occasion, all that touches my lips is H2O. H2O, baby. I drink water like a fish. I drink it like a fish. The reason why is because I know my why. Do you know your why for why you want to be successful in whatever it is you're trying to achieve? If you do not know your why, you will never be able to remain consistent. Let me say this. Even though I drink all water, okay? Even though that's all I drink, let me say this. I have had, just a few years ago, another kidney stone. Now, let me say what happens when something like that happens. You think, man, I have wasted this many years of my life. I could have been drinking sodas. I could have been drinking this. I could have been drinking that. I could have had this. I could have had that. But here's what happens. As I said, you know what? How many kidney stones might I have had? Not only that, let me be honest. I realized there was more benefits to me just drinking water than simply the kidney stone. One of those is I'm cutting out a lot of the sugars I was getting in my life. And so that makes me a healthier person. So my why has increased and multiplied beyond simply just don't want any more kidney stones. That's a big enough why for me, I promise you. But it's bigger than that. So when you begin to understand your why, now you can move on to point number 2. You want to start simple. You want to start simple. What I mean by that is start simple, and whatever you're going to do, make it something you can do daily. All right? Know not only your why, know your how. How am I going to be consistent, Jody? Again, let's go back to my working out or being fit analogy. Now, the thing is that if we're going to be fit, let's put it in an overall category. If I'm going to be physically fit, that means I'm going to exercise, I'm going to eat right, I'm going to get plenty of rest. I mean, there's a lot that goes into truly being physically fit, right? And so if I'm going to do that, then I have to start simple. In other words, I can't go into the gym, and if I'm not athletic at all and I'm out of shape, I can't go in there with the expectation that I'm going to go in there and I'm going to be like the guys that have been working out for 20 years. Okay? Now think about what I just said. The guys that have been working out for 20 years, if they're honest with you, will tell you, you know how I got here? I worked out X amount of times per week. I ate right. I got rest. I did this. I did that. And that's why I'm where I'm at. I've made a lot of mistakes, and I can help you bypass those mistakes. Let me say that. That's what I'm trying to help you do here. I have learned through my mistakes and my fallings and my failures how to help you skip a lot of that, but you can never just fast track to success. Success takes consistency. Success in anything in your life takes consistency. So you're going to have to do it, and you're going to have to start simple and do it daily. In other words, don't overwhelm yourself in the beginning or along the way, but set attainable growth goals within the larger vision. So, in other words, think about your vision. Your vision may be that, let's say that for me, I want to try to run a marathon. Well, that's going to involve more than just me running on a treadmill. That's going to involve me starting out maybe running on a treadmill. If I'm being honest, starting out walking on a treadmill and maybe throwing in an occasional jog. But as I build up my endurance by being consistent and continuing that starting simple, let's just get on a treadmill, Jody. Let's just do that. And then as we do that and we build up our endurance, let's begin eating better so that we're feeding our body the good things that energize us. Then let's make sure we get plenty of rest. Let's make sure we take care of our body so that our body will take care of us when it comes time to run the marathon. But you see, I can't just go out. I could, but it wouldn't be very advisable for me to go out and just take off running a marathon. I would have no hope of ever finishing running the marathon. I might walk it, but not running it. And I wouldn't have any success or hope of not only finishing it, but also winning possibly the marathon. So if I want to run a marathon, I can't just go run the marathon. I have to start simple, which brings us to point number 3, slow and steady. Slow and steady. So if you talk to anybody who has ever achieved success in any area of their life, if they are honest with you, they will tell you it took time. No truthful person will tell you they achieved success overnight. We talk about overnight success stories, but what those people will tell you, the people playing music in bands, I don't care who they are, Elvis Presley, the Beatles, doesn't matter. They will tell you all the time, all the hours, all the weeks, all the effort and energy they put into practicing, to playing for other venues before they ever got on the big stage. The reason they'll tell you that is because they understand that they had to start slow and steady. Start simple, learning how to play a key. Now they can play like a guitar like nobody's business, but they started slow and steady. What I mean by that is, if you think about it, we learned this as children in the old fairy tale of the race, right? The race with the tortoise and the hare. Now, you know the story. The tortoise and the hare was challenged to a race. They take off racing. The hare starts off, the rabbit. He starts off running as hard as he can, and he runs, and he thinks, I've got this beat easy. So he sits down, takes a nap. The turtle, he's just slow and steady. He knows he's not as fast as the rabbit. He knows he may not be able to run as hard as the rabbit. But what he knows is, if I keep going, and I keep this pace, and I just stay consistent in trying to reach the finish line, I believe I can win. And what happens? He walks by the rabbit as the rabbit is sleeping, consistently keeps walking. He doesn't stop. He doesn't waver. He keeps going, and the rabbit wakes up and sees the hare near the finish line, up in the distance, takes off, but can't get there in time. And guess what? The turtle wins the race. Can I tell you something? The only way you're going to win the race to success is to be slow and steady. Now, this is where people fail because they don't want to wait that long. They don't want to pay the price of success. They don't want to pay the cost. And here's the thing. Anyone who is successful, again, will tell you that the reason they're successful is because they put in the effort and were consistent. They were consistent all these years. You can look at stories such as Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon, who is a billionaire, and he will tell you that for the first years of his business, he did not have success like he has today. He had to be consistent in order to be the person he is today. I've heard T.D. Jakes, who is a great inspirational figure in our world today, and what he has said was, people see me now. People see me now and they're like, oh, I'm going to be like T.D. Jakes, young preachers, young ministers, young people that want to do this, and young pastors. And they're like, I want to be like T.D. Jakes. And he says they think they can hit an easy button. There is no easy button. He said, you got to go back over all the years of my life and see all the struggle and all the consistency in my life, not the inconsistencies, but the consistencies that got me here. It's because I was consistent that I got here. And can I encourage you in something? The way you're going to be successful is to be consistent. You have to continue being consistent in your life, be slow and steady. I read something recently that I love and that I've applied into my material when I teach. And this is what it said. It said have the snail mentality. Now, we're talking about a turtle being slow. You imagine a snail, slow as a snail. But this is what it said. It said, if the snail could get aboard Noah's ark, which was its destiny, God said 2 of every creature. So that meant 2 snails took off under the call of God. Again, if you've not been following me, this is faith-based teaching. I'm a faith-based coach, and my faith is important to me. So if this offends you, I don't mean for it to, but hey, this is where I come from. And so you can listen, or you can choose to just not listen to this part and not apply it. That's between you and yourself and God. But I'm going to tell you, because this is what it is. The Bible says that God called 2 of every creature to the ark. And Noah was to let those 2 in. Now listen, the cheetah ran. Cheetah could have just ran to the ark, been there in no time. The giraffes have those long legs and long heads. They see the ark and they're crawling. The snail is low to the ground. The snail just knows God told me to go in this direction. And that snail crawled and crawled and crawled and slithered and crawled, and it finally made its way onto the ark, its destiny. Can I tell you something? How did the snail get there? By consistently going in the direction of the pull that was pulling it there, which was called destiny. Now, if you've been with me, you know you've got that pull on your life too, just attached to your purpose. And if you will go in the direction of your pull, there will come a day where you will look back over your life and you'll say, I got here because I was consistent. I did not stop. I kept crawling. I kept slithering. I kept grabbing. I kept climbing. I was consistent. I was the same. Can I tell you what Jesus said? Jesus is consistent. Are you ready for it? He said, I'm the same yesterday, I'm the same today, and I'm the same forever. Now, we're supposed to emulate Jesus if we are believers. And so I encourage you, consistency is key to your success. Let's go back to our list, can we? So we had slow and steady. And I apologize, I put it in there twice. Look at me, that's important, right? Let me give you the other one. And the other one, it's not going to be on your board because of my mistake, and I apologize for that. But the other one's going to be select an accountability partner. Select an accountability partner, right? And so I want you to select an accountability partner. And when you do that, is what you're doing is you're making yourself accountable, and you're making yourself have somebody that you need to answer to, right? You're having somebody you need to answer to so that you can be held accountable. So that person can check on you and make sure that you're doing things right, and make sure that you're trying to stay on course and encourage you. And so, when you select an accountability partner, you just want to make sure that you're doing that. And I was going to try to punch it in for you, but you know what? I believe you can do that. So it helps keep you on track. It's someone to keep check on you and encourage your progress. And so select an accountability partner is number 4, where the blue sticky note should be. All right. Instead of slow and steady, that should be select an accountability partner. And so keep that in mind, and they're going to encourage you. They're going to hold you accountable. In other words, if I go to the gym, this is key for me. I need somebody to work out with me. Somebody that I know is going to be there in the morning and waiting on me. Somebody that's going to want me to help spot them when they're lifting their weights. Somebody that's going to want me to cheer them on the treadmill. Somebody that's going to want to do that. When I have somebody as a workout partner to help me, or a personal trainer to help me, that makes me accountable, and that helps me. And so I found the same thing in success. When I have somebody that is looking to me and helping me and encouraging me and saying, hey, Jody, how's the book going? How's your writing going? I hear you're writing a new book. How's it going? Hey, Jody, how's the sermon prep going for Sunday? Hey, Jody, how's the course coming? Hey, Jody, how's the teachings on 30 days of how to be successful coming? You know, those kinds of things. And I'll be honest, you are kind of my accountability partner through this because I want to show up for you. I want to be consistent for you. And so knowing that you're watching this, knowing how you've responded and the impact it's making on your life, I desire to be consistent because I'm accountable to you. And so that's huge. Have an accountability partner. Select somebody in the area of success that you want to be successful that'll keep you on track, that'll keep you motivated, that'll keep you progressing forward. Then number 5, strategically plan. What I mean by this is make it a priority on your list. Okay? So you're going to want to do this daily. So if it's working out, if it's getting fit, so most people don't go to the gym every single day, okay? Diehard athletes do, but most average gym goers, physically fit people don't do it 7 days a week. They'll take a day or two off. So let's say that you decide, okay, I'm going to start out small and simple. I'm going to go slow and steady. My why is my why. It's why I'm doing it, okay? I'm going to select somebody to work out with me, and we're going to start out working out 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Okay, so on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on my calendar, I'm strategically planning. What time are we going to meet? Is what I asked my partner. What time works for us? 7 a.m. in the morning. 7 a.m. in the morning, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we're going to meet at the gym. And we're going to work out. I'm going to even go deeper. On Mondays, we're going to work out with weights for the upper body. On Wednesdays, we're going to work out with weights for the lower body. And on Fridays, we're going to do cardio and run on the treadmill. Sounding great now, isn't it? Now, here's something else. What am I going to do on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays? Every day, I'm going to set myself strategically a bedtime that I want to be in bed by so that I can get the right amount of hours of sleep so my muscles and my body can rest. Not only that, I'm going to plan a dietary schedule so that I can eat right and be more healthy in my eating style, which means that I'm going to cut out sugars and I'm going to do this. Now, let's say that we're starting small. So I'm going to give myself at least 1, if not 2, cheat days in the very beginning that I can cheat on and eat what I want for at least 1 meal, if nothing else. So that means if I want ice cream, I'm going to eat ice cream. That means if I want to eat a dessert, I'm going to eat a dessert. If I want to do something if I want to eat fried foods, I'm going to eat fried foods. But the rest of the days, I'm going to eat well. And the reason I say this is because what you're doing is you're strategically planning. You're focusing on doing that one thing and doing it great. And when you do this, what you're going to find is you're going to become more successful. There's a rule out there called the 10,000 rule. And a gentleman came up with it, and he says that if you'll take 10,000 hours or 10,000 days doing something, you will master it. There's debate on if that's true or not. I believe if you were to add that rule to all these strategies and teachings and techniques that I've given you today, I do believe it would become efficient. And this is why. Because you know your why. You know why you're doing what you're doing and why power will always overcome willpower. You know your how. You're going to start simple and do it every day for 10,000 days. Now, you don't go into it looking like that. You're like, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to do this week. And then you move into, I'm going to do this month. And then you move into, I'm going to do this quarter. I'm going to do this year. I'm going to do this next year. Because the longer you do it, I don't like this word, but it really becomes habitual. And what happens is you continue to do it. Consistency. It's just like drinking water. I can tell you something. I have people offer me drinks now. And they're like, hey, will you drink a soda? And I'm like, no. The last time I accidentally grabbed the wrong cup and took a swallow of soda, it was gross. Can I tell you something? I don't want anything but water, really. Very seldom will I drink a milkshake, a couple times a year. But other than that, I don't want anything but water. I love my water. It tastes amazing to me. There is nothing like it. I don't flavor it. You can see it. It's clear. I don't need no additives, no preservatives. I don't need no sugar. I don't need no flavoring. I like water. All right? Now, the reason I can do that is because I've consistently done it for this long of a time. The reason I can talk to you the way I do is because I have consistently, on at least on average 3 times a week, taught or preached a message for over 20 years. That's why I can do this. Can I tell you something? I am much more comfortable doing it now than the first times I shared a teaching or a preaching message. Okay? And the reason why is because I have done it consistently. I believe in the 10,000 rule if it's applied with other things. Okay? Go slow and steady. And remember to select an accountability partner. Be accountable to somebody and strategically plan. Let me give you those things one more time before I leave you today, because these things are key. Without this teaching, without applying this teaching, you will never, my friend, you will never be successful for long. You might find success in a moment, but it'll dwindle away very quickly if you don't remain consistent. It doesn't matter if you're talking about the gym. It doesn't matter if you're talking about being a good husband or wife, good parent, a good student, education, entrepreneurship, exercise, eating well, you name it, it doesn't matter. If you do not apply consistency and you don't know your source, you don't start simple, you don't go slow and steady, you don't select an accountability partner, and you don't strategically plan, I can promise you, without a doubt in my mind, with all the love and compassion I have for you, but this is real talk, I can promise you that you will not achieve the success that you're out to get. And it will not last. Even when you become successful, one thing has to remain: consistency. And so I encourage you, apply this teaching, and I can't wait to jump in tomorrow with you. God bless.